Hello, it's Gordon here, and this video I've called Vonn, and I'm talking about Lindsey Vonn. American skier Lindsey Vonn, who has retired. It was her last race today, Sunday, is it the 10th? What's the date today? It's the 10th. Sunday, 10th of February, Lindsey Vonn's last race. She's retired. What a career. She has retired at the top. But here's the thing, she's retired not quite at the top as she would have wanted. So she's retiring on her terms, but not quite on her terms. I'm going to come to that later because that's the point of this video. She's 34 years old and has won 3 Olympic medals, including Olympic gold, World Championships. In fact, today her last race was at the World Championships, taking place in Åre in Sweden, and she came bronze in the downhill. She became the oldest woman to win a medal at a World Championships, only 34 mind you. She became the first woman to win a medal at 6 different World Championships. Classic Lindsey Vonn, even in her last race, she's still breaking records. And when it comes to World Cup wins, she's won 82 World Cup races in her career. There's only one person, male or female, who's won more, and that's Ingemar Stenmark from Sweden, who won 86. And because I'm old, just as I've been watching Lindsey Vonn's career, I remember watching Ingemar Stenmark, a slalom specialist, and he didn't wear a helmet. They didn't wear helmets in those days. It shows how long ago it was. He used to wear a woolly hat with a bobble on top that would fly around. Legendary, peerless Ingemar Stenmark. And as Lindsey Vonn came down, and she was in first when she'd finished, she was in first place as she crossed the line, guess who was there to meet her at the bottom? Ingemar Stenmark. And what a beautiful picture that was of the two of them together. So Stenmark won 86 and Lindsey Vonn won 82. And Lindsey Vonn had actually stated on record that the only reason she was still going was to try and beat Stenmark's record of 86. So she's going to retire 4 World Cup wins short. And in fact, she announced her retirement very quickly. It was only last week. She said, "My body is broken beyond repair and now is the time I've got to listen to it." She said that she's ignored it before, but now she can't ignore it anymore, and her retirement is almost immediate. Because she's had so many injuries over the years, bad injuries, and without those injuries she would have got past Stenmark's number 86 wins. But one of the reasons that she had so many injuries was the reason that got her to 82 wins in the first place, was her mental attitude of pushing the envelope, pushing the limits of what someone can do, in this case what a woman can do, downhill on skis. So she would push the limits of the racing line. And often that meant she was in some fairly bad injuries. I mean, you can go to YouTube and you can look at Lindsey Vonn injuries, if that's your thing. Lots of injuries over lots of years that would have ended other careers. Ooh, nice little rhyme there. I'm going to say it again. Lots of injuries over lots of years that would have ended other careers. Yeah, that works. But she fought back from the injuries because of that same mental strength. So on course, she was maximum attack. Absolutely full on every time. And mental strength wise, when it comes from coming back from injuries, she was maximum attack, full on, pushing the recovery process to be as quick as possible. Now she's not alone in that. All elite athletes in any sport will be performing through pain and recovering through difficult injuries, and often lots of them. She's not unusual in that, particularly in skiing. It has to be said, as you can imagine. but it does show her mental strength. She's had her critics because she's very outspoken. You won't be surprised. She's an independent woman. And she said, I'm going to be an independent woman. And if that means I feel sexy and I want to show myself in a sexy light, that's what I'm going to do. So she did swimwear shoots and magazine covers and the makeup and a bit diva-esque, a bit reality star, a bit over the top, perhaps. Sometimes for my liking, she was a bit over the top. But whenever you saw an interview with her, she was warm, friendly, giving to the interviewer. Very liked amongst other skiers. In fact, the current Olympic downhill champion is Italian Sofia Goggia. And she said one of her mentors, friends, supporters, encouragers in the biggest way ever throughout her career has been, guess who? Lindsey Vonn, one of her competitors. And Lindsey Vonn's got a foundation, an institute that gives grants to young sports people, predominantly women, but not always women, to try and further people's goals and to discover their grit and their strength, is how it's described. So she's giving back. She gives back to her competitors, her contemporaries, and she also gives grants to support the younger people coming through. Can't argue with that, can you, really? But the point I wanted to make, well, apart from all those points, in terms of goal achievement, self-improvement and wealth creation, they're great points, aren't they? But the point I wanted to make was this one about her going out on top, but not quite on top on her terms. Because she didn't get to this 86 mark of STEM marks and she's going to be left on 82 World Cup wins. And in an interview I saw with her, she said, I don't want my injury to be I don't want my career to be defined by the injuries. Because a lot of people, when they think of Lindsey Vonn, they think of her injuries. And she said, I don't want my career to be defined by the injuries. I want them to be defined by my 82 World Cup wins, my Olympic medals, my Olympic gold, etc. Now, isn't that odd? Because she herself, in that interview, is almost defining herself by her injuries, isn't she? The fact she's saying, I don't want my career to be defined by injuries. Well, as it happens, I wasn't. I don't. I define her career by her peerless achievements. Not the injuries. But she's defined it by her injuries, by telling people that she doesn't want it to be defined like that. Can you see what I mean? And it also shows that there's something nagging in her head, that her legacy, people are going to think of the name Lindsey Vonn and injuries rather than Lindsey Vonn and achievement. So there's some unfulfillment going on there, isn't there? There's some unease within her. Fascinating point. So, work hard, no guarantees of success. You might get to the top, you're going to have to work hard with no guarantees of success. To stay at the top, and there might be hard work, there might be pain, there might be tears, and you might be able to give back, and you might end up doing as well as Lindsey Vonn. Very, very impressive if you ask me. So there we go, let me know what you think. Have you ever seen Lindsey Vonn skiing? Do you watch sport? Do you watch skiing? I've never been skiing in my life, funnily enough, but I've watched skiing for decades on the television. So it's always nice to see a superb career like that, and to see her go out. I say it's not quite on her terms, but it is on her terms in the fact that she decided when her last race was going to be. She crossed the line and she still won a medal in her last race, in classic, I would say, Lindsey Vonn style. So I hope all is well with you. Signing off for now, wishing you as ever health and happiness, and I'll speak to you again soon.